tragic part of it is that they always end up getting taken down by a national security order or get taken out by some kind of business chicanery or financial chicanery. But what we're saying is that we, having learned from the past, and this is the one thing I say to inventors, if you don't learn from the past, you're going to repeat it, because the system is gamed very heavily to be sure that these systems don't get out to the public. And in fact, that is what has successfully been operational for 100 years. And we're trying to put both the strategic thinking and the leadership together to overcome those mistakes that have been made for the last 100 years, so that the public and the whole world knows that we can have free energy and a sustainable civilization. And a lot of people say, well, what in the world, what's the connection between the Orion Project and Disclosure Project? I said, look, there's anyone who ever studies what a UFO is, they're going to conclude that they're using free energy. You're not going to travel from the Andromeda Galaxy to here, 2.5 million light years, using solid rocket boosters and jet propulsion. You're just not. I'm sorry.
Exxon just didn't get there.
News flash to Exxon and news flash to the people who were burning things. You're dealing with a whole new physics. And so anyone who has studied the UFO subject and knows it's real and has seen the evidence for it knows that these devices are pulling energy out of the fabric of space-time and actually are trans-dimensional, that at a certain point, at a certain resonance, they look like they disappear and go into another dimension and then reappear at another point in space. Now, interestingly, I've interviewed people who back all the way in the 40s and 50s had been part of experiments in classified projects where they were able to do exactly that. And we have recently worked with a man who for years worked on transdimensional sciences and then got pulled into the intelligence community. Unfortunately, he wasn't allowed to go the distance with this because he was threatened, and a lot of problems came up, and that information's up on the website. But we know for a fact this has been done. So, the one thing I say to people is that the laws of the universe are universal. There's nothing that can be discovered in another star system that can't be discovered here on Earth, and hasn't been. We have discovered these things. And so the wonderful bit about this is that not only are we not alone in the universe, but the sciences that permit us to have a civilization without poverty, with a very green, minimal imprint on the planet by our civilization, already exist. It isn't like they have to be discovered. They've been discovered. That's what the last 100 years did, the 20th century had. What has to now happen is that we have to have people come together and say, we're going to bring them out to the world. Okay, and we're going to make it real, not just for people out at Pahut Mesa in Nevada, or in Utah near the Dugway Proving Grounds, or in the outback of Australia at the underground base at Alice Springs. We're going to make it real for the housewife in Denver, and for the poor tribes that are in Africa, and for the villagers in India. So this is the big process that has to happen now, that has been forestalled and stopped by these ruthless interests who do not want to let go of their central control on the macroeconomic system. And it's not a trivial thing. We're talking about a relatively small number of corporations and individuals who have over half the world's net worth. It's something like 200 or 300 people, and corporations have over half of the net worth of the world, and who control the direction of the macroeconomic system. This is not democracy, and it's not justice, and it's not kind, and it's not enlightened. And so this is something that has to be transformed, and there has to be a group to do it. And we're offering to be that group to do everything we can, and we're very grateful to all the folks at the World Puja Network for allowing us to speak to you every few weeks on this, and to the people who've helped the OrionProject.org get this far. And we're really at the point now we can do it. We just need to make it through this home stretch with the fundraising or identifying the scientists who have these technologies who are going to cooperate with this strategy. And it is a very unconventional strategy. It isn't your typical business strategy, because if you were just inventing another software program to run on your iPod, that's not a problem. You're not threatening Goldman Sachs, and you're not threatening the masters of the universe with that. These fundamental game-changing energy and propulsion technologies, they are viewed as disruptive. And so we have to just say that, well, it may be disruptive to your centralized control, and it may be that you don't want people to get uppity, because I think they really do view all of us as slaves on their plantation. I mean, I've said this. I mean, it's an ugly analogy, but I really think that the mindset of these folks is that they're the masters of the universe, and we're to stay in our place. Meanwhile, the Earth is being destroyed. So, it's time for us to stand up and say enough, and we're going to fix this problem, and we can, and that's what we're here to do. All right. Well, thank you, Ted, for
Well, you're sure welcome. It's a pleasure being on the World Puja network again.
Yeah, and you guys keep going to the orionproject.org for updates as they come along. We'll send them out. If you want to sign up for updates, we don't have that many. We really basically will send you an update when we either get the funding or have a new device that we have identified and tested. But if you want to get in that database so that you're the first in the world to know, you can sign up for free there at the orionproject.org. So with that, I'd like to again thank the World Puja Network for hosting us. This is Dr. Stephen Greer with Conversations with Dr. Greer. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.